Hine Quarters for the pool parties. We've heard about the parties up at the house. And then there's this whole other set of parties that happen down at the pool. I tend to think of these in terms of, well, first of all, tennis, and then weddings. What I remember most about the tennis was this continuing confrontation between Mary Adelaide Reinhardt and Addie Martin. In other words, you got like two Adelaides going at it. Mary Adelaide went to Smith, and she was a beautiful woman. Addie went to high school somewhere, and she was a beautiful woman. She's the one I've called my second mother. And they hated each other. I mean, for real. They're both tall, both strong, both ferocious tennis players. So when I think of that Hine tennis court, you know, the Hartrue masterpiece, that's all I can ever remember, is the two of them like bashing each other. I did have the experience as a kid of seeing tennis greats Chuck McKinley and Vic Seixas, both Davis Cup champions, playing each other. I was a ball boy, which is an interesting thing. It's like you're like seeing everything at ground level, like below ground level, realizing. And you see just how narrowly the ball goes over the net and all that. But when I saw them play, it was like nothing compared to Addie versus Mary Adelaide. It was extraordinary. Two great women facing off like constantly at the Hine household. So there's that. And then I remember the Hine weddings, which were the ultimate pool parties. 4 daughters, every one of whom had like a huge wedding reception at the pool house. Thing is, it's hard to remember the actual order in which they all occurred, but I'm thinking that the first one was Marion's wedding. She married a ne'er-do-well named Jimmy Storm, and because it was the first Hine wedding, it was in some ways the biggest. Nobody approved. She was Marion was the one that was closest to my sister. They were what's the word? Best friends forever. And nobody could figure out why Marion would like hook up with somebody like Jimmy Storm. He was so clearly a gold digger. But, see, the Hine money kicks in. And my goodness, how much money for a wedding, for the first Hine wedding, all down by the pool. Jimmy Storm, of course, loved every minute of it. and everybody else hated every minute of it. But everybody's, in their best bib and ducker, as always, and everybody's like drinking their way into oblivion. And you're like wondering, is this a dream? It's like, how does anything happen like this? And then there was, I think, right after Marion, there was like Louise. Louise was the prettiest of the Hine girls, and the most shallow and silly. And she married a guy named Joe Huber, who was one of the Bridgeton elite. He had, he had gone to Mercersburg, and also to Lafayette, and then to Wharton for his MBA. And they were going to be the elite couple. People were like about evenly split on this. They thought that Louise was like marrying beneath herself, and I I thought they deserved each other. I mean, really. Joe was one of those guys who like always talked out of the side of his mouth, and he had this mother who was an incredible social climber. She was determined to be in the high inner circle, which she never actually made it into. She was, always drunk. But, see, that's the thing. There was all this drinking that was always going on at the Hine parties, but you're not supposed to be a drunk. Something I had never mentioned before was like the glasses in which you got your drinks at Hine parties were always these like huge, clunky, short, squat glasses. It was like a commitment, It's like whatever you had in that glass was important. So you got a lot of this going on with the with the Hine weddings. Large, clunky glasses filled with booze, and a bunch of people who really didn't know how to behave when they had a whole bunch to drink. By the time Louise got married, I was already a Harvard Final Club president, and I knew how you're supposed to drink. I mean, you gotta be like careful. And the whole Bridgeton Salem set didn't actually know how to do this. So you saw like wild, stupid stuff happening, and why? I mean, what makes you think that you're like the white privilege set? You're really not. You're just a bunch of yokels, who are like pretending. And you're making yourselves look silly while you carry on like this. But Louise married Joe. And Joe got to do a sideways smirk. And then came the wedding of Hattie to a real local from Greenwich. Oh my God. And she married a guy named Bill Reinhardt, who was not the same as the Reinhardt doctor couple that Mary Adelaide was part of. No, these were the like really really low class Reinhardts from Greenwich, Colonial Trailer Park. But we were all happy for Hattie. She was She was the one we thought was like the nice girl of the Hine crew. And we were wrong about that, too. It's like, you're always wrong. You always think everything is like definable, discernible in some way. And we thought, okay. Hattie, a.k.a. Helen Hine, named after Sis, who is also Helen. We thought she was the nice girl. She was the oldest. She was nice to all of us kids. And it turned out she was not a very nice woman. Elsewhere, I have a story about a cat named Sebastian, which is when I finally found out who her husband really was. Not a very nice man. But they had a nice wedding, and everybody seemed to approve. And big splashy pool party at the Hines. And then there was the wedding. The final wedding was of Priscilla and a kid named Butch DeLong. And once again, I mean, you think you know who everybody is, and I misjudged him. I thought he was a gold digger. Turns out he wasn't. He actually he loved Priscilla, and then Priscilla died. He didn't know that, of course, at the time of the wedding. And I made the mistake of suggesting that Butch DeLong was like not up to Priscilla. And a couple of his friends told me I was wrong, and I have to concede they were right. He really did love her, and she really did love him. Priscilla was one who was the closest in age to me, and we had been like really good friends. I almost kissed her once. This shows you like how weird the white privilege world is. I was at Mercersburg, and she was at Oldfields, and they came for a dance. And Priscilla and I danced, and for the first time, I was like, we're both like, pubescent. And I'm thinking, I probably would like to kiss Priscilla. But we had been in like kindergarten together, so you can't really kiss her. And I remember hearing that she died and feeling so sad. Which is the feeling I'm left with by all of the pool parties, all the weddings. It's like they're all sad. I mean, everybody is there, everybody is showing off, everybody is like not really thinking about the couple and their prospects for happiness. And the deal is there is almost no prospect for happiness for anybody. But it's beautiful, and there is this Olympic-sized swimming pool, and people are swimming, and everybody's eating, everybody's drinking, and okay, why are we doing